Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Tools on Tools. I'm Reese, your host, and today we're going to be talking about what I carry in my toolboxes. Now, typically everyone's got their own sort of place where they build. So they're plumbers, there's general contractors, carpenters, electricians. So there's always going to be a different fit out. Myself, I'm a bit of a handyman, so I do a lot of different things for a specific company. That includes things like plastering, basic building, retaining walls, you name it, just small jobs, very small jobs that people can't get to, and that fills in my day very, very quickly, as you can imagine, as most bigger companies don't want to come back to a job, so that keeps me very, very busy. So today we're going to take a look in my toolboxes here, and we're going to see what's up. So you can see here that I've got the tactics boxes that you would typically see in a Bunnings warehouse here in Australia, and there's a good reason for that. Dirt cheap, absolutely dirt cheap. This guy here was like $20 Australian, and how can you go past that? As you can see in the background behind me, and if you follow the channel, you would know I run a host of DeWalt tools, and I absolutely love the products. They're great tools, but their lineup of toolboxes, the T-Stack series is not so bad. The toolboxes, they're okay in price, but the Tough series, which I wanted to run, would run you about $800, and they're very narrow. They're not as wide as these guys here. So, given that the price was really low and it suited what I needed, it's what I got. So, over here we have our basic unit. As I said before, it was $20, and it's got some very cool stuff here. So inside here we've got some little containers. There was 6 of them. I've removed one of them so that I can put a DeWalt battery here, a 12 amp. It fits absolutely perfectly into these little squares here, so if needed, if I don't need these, I can put a couple extra batteries. Over here I've got some Milwaukee tools that I've reviewed on the channel here. This guy here, we're going to be doing a testing video sometime in the near future, maybe in the next 3 or 4 days. I've got the stapler here as well, so this is the 1/2 inch ratchet. I've got a DeWalt laser. It's very, very handy, and if you do any sort of carpentry and plastering and that sort of thing, you want to get your volumes right on your room. That way you can order the material that you need. Over here in our first punnet, we have, of course, some staples for our crown stapler over there by Milwaukee. In the next one, we just have a few various screws. In the back one here, we have gloves. I do painting occasionally, and it's handy to just have a pair of gloves there if you're using things like chemicals or you are going to paint. Over to the side here, we've got an extra battery here. It's just one that I wasn't using, and this one here I'm not using as well. Eventually, I'll find little bits and pieces that I will fill in. Now, over to this guy here. This is the bigger unit. Now this one here cost me around $69, I believe, and it's very, very good. It's got a couple drawers on the bottom here, which are fantastic. There's 2 of them, and also a top unit there. Now they are fairly dirty. I do use them what they were intended for, and that was going onto a job site. So in the bottom drawer here, we have a DeWalt charger, just one of the basic chargers. We have, of course, a tape measure. We have a few little impact driver bits there to suit some socket bits. We've got an Allen key here to remove a grinding attachment, and some razor blades that you definitely need on a job site. In the compartment next to it, we have a small level here by Stanley. It is magnetic, and it does occasionally pick up the saber blades you can see here. It does have a rotating little window here, so you can get your 45-degree angles here if you like. It's very, very handy. Speaking of the reciprocating saw blades, I carry Diablo. I find that they last a really long time, and the cuts they make are absolutely fantastic, and they've never really let me down. We've got a couple pencils here. We've got a builder's triangle. That's absolutely essential, especially if you're cutting timber freehand, getting those nice straight cuts and also making your lines. Over here we've got an assortment of angle grinder blades, some more recip bits. I do carry a DeWalt, I believe it's a DCH 333. It's a small little rotary hammer, jackhammer, and there's some chipping blades, also a drill bit that I carry with it. So we'll close that up here, and we'll go into the next drawer there. Whoops, that's lock. Alright, so they do have an unlock and lock function there, so if you are traveling in a vehicle, they're not going to slide open and spill into the back of your truck. Now I do have most of the DeWalt tools, as I said. So here we've got one of their impact drivers. It's one of the famous ones. It is one of the ones that catch fire, unfortunately. However, I do not test DeWalt products to their absolute limits, so this guy's never got hot on me. So we'll see. Maybe in the future we'll do an upgrade just to stay on the safe side. I know there is a couple new models that have came out to replace this one here, but unfortunately I believe they lack in power and they still get quite hot. So I think I'll hold out until DeWalt has made a better impact driver. Alright, and over here we've just got one of their base drills. This isn't one of the heavy duty ones, so it has got a plastic chuck on it. I don't do too much with this guy here, just a little bit of pilot drilling, but it serves me very, very well. It does have a hammer function and it is a 2-speed, so it does come in handy, but it's not the top of the line one. But if I need to go to the top of the line, I won't be using a drill. I'll use Milwaukee's rotary hammer because it's got a little bit more grunt and it'll do a little bit more easier. I do have Milwaukee's shockwave set here. It's got all the bits and pieces that I need, all the essentials, but Milwaukee, if you're watching, the one thing it doesn't come with, and the one thing that I have added to this kit, is a 3/8 piece over here. This guy here, that for contractors it's not essential. We do use the smaller hex head screws, but given some people do use the 3/8, and if you're removing them to add something else, it would be nice to have it in the set. So to complete this set here, which is a fantastic set, Milwaukee, chuck a 3/8 in there, and that'll basically complete this set. It'll be bulletproof. Alright, so we'll close that up. Now up in the top here, it does have these couple latches here, and we'll jump right into it. In the top I carry a 6-amp battery. I also carry a 9, which is currently on my grinder. So I've got a 6, a 9 and a 12. It's a little bit of an odd combination, but that's the order I bought them in. So this is both of DeWalt's 54 volt range, and extremely powerful. This grinder here, I've really struggled to get this thing to bog down. You can really lean on the grinder if you need to make fast, heavy cuts, and it has done the job phenomenally. Especially I do a lot of cutting of brick and masonry and things like that, and these little filters here at the end of the day are absolutely fantastic because you can take them off and wash them and make sure your equipment is working the way DeWalt intended it to. Alright guys, so this is the last little piece that I carry around with me. Again, this is a part of the Tactics series, and being dirt cheap and having that piece there and that piece there, they all clip together just the way modern toolboxes should. And this guy here, it's on rollers. with an extendable handle with this little pinch bar here. So it is dirt cheap, and it does exactly what I need it to do. And being the last little piece here, it does have the tools that I don't use that often, but I do keep. So I've got things like my blower attachment for the DeWalt blower that I've got in here. I've got some unopened shrink pieces, and I've got a tester there, electronics tester, which is absolutely essential, especially if you're doing renovations and you want to make sure that the power is off where you are. Never take the word of another person that says the power is off. Always test it for yourself. Better safe than sorry. So at the bottom, I've got 3 more DeWalt pieces. I've got the 18 volt blower here, or in America, they're 20 volt. I'm not sure why the voltage is a bit more in America. Maybe it's more for an advertising thing, just to say that they've got a 2 volt bump up over the last season of tools. I'm not sure, but 18 volt, and it does the job very, very nicely. And it does have a 3-speed controller on the top here with this toggle switch, and that works very, very nicely too. Right beside it, we've got the 54. Well, I better get that out of the way. I've got DeWalt's 54 volt circular saw, and again, just like the grinder, you can't really get this thing to bog down. Sometimes you can hear it struggle a little bit going through things like engineered lumber like LVLs, but going through everyday stuff like your 45s or going through chipboard, it's phenomenal. It just powers through, and the blade that DeWalt gives you in the kit is very, very strong, very, very good for cutting through. And the brake is very, very nice as well. It's a very nice feature. It stops nice and fast. And yeah, so I've used the saw quite a bit. Not as much as I'd like to. I use a miter saw more than anything. But it's just handy to go onto a site that doesn't have power, that you can hook this bad boy straight into work without having to need power. Alright, so the last thing I've got in here, like I mentioned before, is DeWalt's 54 volt rotary hammer. Now this guy, this is my bread and butter right here. This has seen a lot of work. I've probably done a few things with this that DeWalt never thought that a person would use it for, but it has definitely seen some hard yards. And then in here in Australia, hard yards is it's definitely using it to beyond its abilities. So the DC, I believe it's called the DCH 333. It has a 3 mode, so it's got just your chipping mode. It's got your hammer drill, and then it's got a straight drill. I've used it mainly 90% on chipping. I use this to clean up hardened plaster off walls, to break bricks and small little jobs like that. But mainly for what I do for work, this guy is absolutely perfect. I might get the bigger one in the future. The DeWalt makes one that has a 13.3 joule capacity, and that's phenomenal for something that runs on a battery. But for now, this guy does me just fine. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed learning about some of the tools that I carry. Hopefully you had a look at my setup, and maybe it's inspired you to maybe make a more compact carry cases that you can take with you on the job. Maybe it's inspired you to get a few of the tools here. Maybe you think, okay, maybe I need a few more tools, and maybe you're right. Maybe I do. Maybe I have a bit of a tool addiction, who knows. But that's for you guys to decide. Also, in the comments section below, leave some comments. You know, what's your setup? What's your prime setup? You know, what is your absolute bread and butter? What makes you the most money? What keeps you going on a job site? and most importantly, what couldn't you do without on a job site? For me, it's all these tools here. You know, these are the basic tools that you need: an impact driver, a drill, a few other little niches like your reciprocating saw here. A blower is absolutely essential, especially if you want to keep things clean. We'll talk about vacuums in a later video too. I do have a few of them just to keep the job site clean, and of course I've got the attachments here for this and the rotary hammer so that I can keep it dust free and also sawdust free, and of course the grinders and the batteries. So guys, this is another episode from Reese on Tools, and if you like what you see, smash that subscribe button. Absolutely help me out. I'd love to see you guys here. I'd love to see that number climb and see this channel get to a place that I never thought it could go. And also hit the bell notification, because that'll let you know when I'm releasing new videos. I'm going to try and commit to about 2 a week, and so far I'm doing pretty well on that. I don't know if my wife is going to let me commit to that as much as I hope to, but eventually we'll get there. All right, guys, you take care and have a good weekend.